fans. I'm your host, Pro 8 Games, where we learn from A to Z. And today, we're finally getting 11.0. Woohoo! But anyways, let's get to it. But before we get into it, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more on YouTube. Hit the heart and follow button if you want to see more on TikTok. But anyways, let's get to it, Pro 8 fans. Version 11.0, which is Splatoon 3 11 version .0 update is available from January 29th, 2026. But probably in Japan, but probably in maybe in United States it's 7 p.m. Eastern time. But I think so, Pro 8 fans. But anyways, I'll let you know by the end. But let's get to it. Bring in some new mechanics and other changes to refreshen things up in the Splatlands. Read for a rundown on what's new. Which this is one of the new mechanics, Pro 8 fans, if you didn't know. Which is Aura Flow. Flow Aura, I mean. Ink lanes and auto lanes who splat multiple opponents in the quick section will enter a new state called Flow Aura. As a state of active burst of ink will paint the ground around the player. Let's see how it works, Pro 8 fans. So basically, they're splatting them, and then once they get the third splat, it activates and it leaves a trail of paint. You seen that, Pro 8 fans? Let me replay it one more time. Wait, let me back up. Hang on. After the third skill, you got extra paint because that's how you know when it's activated. By that and the aura flow, which looks pretty nice to be honest for the anime, Pro 8 fans, animation. But anyways, let's read more about it. Flow aura lasts for about 30 seconds, during which time players will get a boost their speed run, swing speed, ink resistance, intensify action. So basically it affects those type abilities if you get that new mechanic activated. But if you make use of those boosts to splat more opponents or assist your teammates in doing so, then you can extend the generation of the flow or even farther. So basically, when you get more splats, it'll activate. But if you don't get splats in 30 seconds, it won't activate. But it sounds pretty good, to be honest, Pro 8 fans, especially for those close range weapons like regular blasters, shooters, and all that. Weapons that like to go for kills. But let's see more about it. 3, 2, 1, let's get into the action. So, every time you get splat, it paints your feet. What it seems like. And the abilities are activated while added too. If you've seen that, Pro 8 fans. Which is pretty cool. Okay, but anyways, inking the ground and helping your teammates get splats will make it easier for you to enter flow or when defeating multiple opponents in a row. Splatting opponents who themselves are in aura form will help too. So work with your teammates and take advantage and give your counter attacks some added punch. Pretty cool. Health bars, which we're finally getting health bars, Pro 8 fans. Everybody should know what it is. Basically, it tells you how much health they're on and gives you information what's happening during the battle. Which I'm glad they finally added that, Pro 8 fans. But anyways, let's read. With the version 11.0, it's now possible to see an opponent's remaining health when they're been hit. Previously, you could only see how damaged an enemy was by looking closely how much ink they were covered in. Not so easy to do in the heat of battles. Now there's remaining health will be shown in a bar above their head for a few seconds, proving they're not ducking behind cover or diving into their ink. Though if the opponent is a visible VIA ability such as thermo ink or has been marked by things like point sensor or wave breaker, you'll be able to see it even then. Oh, that's cool. So basically, even they get marked or they get hit by that special ability, thermo ink, you can still see them. Their health bar. That's cool, Pro E fans. But let's watch it. In 3, 2, 1, let's see. Oh, that's cool. The health bar is red, Pro E fans. And they even show that they're recovering health, getting their health back. So that's basically how it works. It tells you if they're how low they are, how much health they're getting back, and all that. Pretty cool, Pro E fans. You'll also be able to see the health bar of your teammates if they're taking damage. Oh, that's cool. So we can even see them too, their health bars, our teammates. Keeping an eye on these health bars is a great way to support your allies or chase down weak foes. Even if you're teaming up with Inklings and Octolings you're not familiar with. So make it easier to help your team. I like that. Because it's going to make it a lot easier and it's game changing, them two mechanics. If I'm going to be honest, Pro fans. Hit duration. So they're changing it, Pro fans? That's what it sounds like. But let's read to find out. From the version 11.0, there are also some changes on how easy or difficult it is to hit opponents. Yep, I was right, Pro fans. They are changing it. How it works. Their around opponents, known as the hitbox, has been made slightly smaller when in squid form since the original Splatoon on the Wii U. So they make it different, a little different from the Wii U back then, which I remember the Wii U hitbox. It was different back then. As the player, a little leeway was built to size of the hitbox as players got used to aiming with motion controls. As players have become more adaptive with this playstyle, this has become less important. The adjustment in 11.0 makes the hitbox similar to that of the hitbox in kit form. So the kit form, it looks about the same, but let me see, Pro fans. While the squid form looks a little different, yeah, it looks a little smaller. It seems like in squid form, make it so you can make it easier to hit. And should stop Inklings and Octolings squid form from being hit where they're hiding behind walls or around corners, which is pretty good welcome changes. All of them so far, Pro fans. However, it would be no fun if it's too difficult to hit opponents, so some changes have also been made to the hitbox of players' shots. Shorter range main weapons now have much bigger hitbox, while longer range main weapons have only had their hitbox slightly increased. So basically, they're different, depends on what weapon you use. It's always more dangerous to get up close and personal with an opponent, but now players with shorter range weapons have an insensitive to insensitive to go and take the fight to players with weapons that would traditionally outrange them. To ensure, here are some examples how hit directions have been changed from some weapons. Splash Dot Jr. So all of them had changed, it sound like. With the hitbox. Attacks from opponents in squid form are a little bit harder to hit. Attacks on opponents from kid form is much easier to hit, basically. Same with the splatter shot. E-leader, its opponents swim form are much harder to hit. In kid form, easier to hit. So most it sounds like basically it's harder to hit in squid form, which I always felt like that too. Sometimes in kid form, I always kill them easier, Pro A fans. But anyways, even stealth jump has changed, Pro A fans. Stealth jump gear ability allows players to jump to their teammates while the opponent's team seeing where they will be landing. To prevent this from allowing teams to overwhelm opponents too easily. The fighting time for super jump is increased depending on the distance, but only when gear stealth jump is equipped. So basically, it depends how far you jump. If you jump really far, you're going to be very slow at that destination. But if you're close, it will be faster to jump. Let's see what's like. This is without stealth jump, Pro fans. About the same speed. Now with stealth jump, you will see it. How much? It is a lot slower, which is a pretty good change, Pro fans. But do you know one thing I think that will work with it? That will counter it? I think I would recommend super jump because you're going to be a lot slower now. If you're going to do stealth jump now, if you still want to use it. But that's what I recommend. But anyways, let's get back to it. So if you're jumping all the way across the map with stealth jump equipped, now it takes a little longer to get there than before. It's only the flight time that has been increased though. The time takes to actually launch is still the same as before, as well as the above adjustments. You can also some other changes may improve the balance of the game. You can click on the full patch to see and learn. Increase the speed of shots by prostitutely 24% without changes of flight distance. So basically, it's going to shoot faster. Decrease the radius of the ink splatter at the point of impact by 15%. Basically, the shoot a lot faster for L3. Next up is Diamond Roller. We're finally getting changes for it, Pro E fans. Basically, is increased the ink spray drop from horizontal and vertical. Basically, both of them. So they're adjusting that. Adjust the damage of fall off rate. That's perfect due to the distance to make it possible to deal 100 damage or higher at greater distance than before. So basically, it's going to be easier to hit 100 damage, above 100 damage. Increase the amount of ink consumed by horizontal and vertical swing by proportionately 17%. So basically, it's going to be more ink hungry. So if it's going to be more ink hungry on Dynamo Roller, I recommend putting Ink Saver if you want to have more shots for A fans or save ink a little more. Blaster is getting reduced the time when movement is restricted after firing by approximately 1/30th of a second. That's pretty good, Prairie fans. Basically, it shoots slightly faster. H3 nozzle nose. Increase the maximum damage from 44 to 45. So basically more damage, which is not going to probably help it that much if I'm going to be honest, Prairie fans. But I wish they would have done a little more with H3, Prairie fans. But anyways, rollers finally getting their buff. Reduce the amount of time it takes for ink to begin recovering after horizontal or vertical swing by about 1/30th of a second. Basically, it's going to be recovering ink slightly faster, Prairie fans. The splat roller. In heavy splatling, increase the radius ink by spray. Drop from shots by approximately 12%. Increase the radius of the ink splatter at the point of impact by 12%. Basically, make it, I guess, easier to kill players. And Dark Tetris, we're finally getting buffs for it, Pro A fans. It's been so long, got buffs. But anyways, let's see what I got. Increase the speed of shots by approximately 19% without changing the flight distance. Basically, kills faster. A lot faster. In Splatbrella, reduce the amount of ink consumed when firing a shot by approximately 9%. Basically, they have a little more ink. And last but not least, we've all been waiting for. You know, it's one of my favorite weapons. I'm glad it's finally getting nerfed. S-Blast. Decrease the radius of the explosive damage for short flights distance shots by approximately 11%. So basically, I guess it's for close range Pro A fans to make it easier to dodge the shots. But I'm glad they finally got nerfed, to be honest, Pro A fans. Here are some of the special changes, which is increase the radius of it's Reslider. Increase the radius of the explosion that deals 220 damage by approximately 20%. There are no changes to the radius of the area that deals 70 damage. So basically make it a lot easier to kill. Slightly raise the center point of the explosion to make it harder for opponents to avoid it. Using a small height difference. Increase the radius ink by explosion by approximately 7%. Oh, decrease. Decrease the maximum of distance of charge by approximately 19%. So basically make it a lot easier to kill. And now here are the special changes. New Squiffer went to 200 through 190 per special it gets. In Z plus F Charger goes to 210 to 200. That's a pretty good change too. Try Slosher Nouveau 210 to 200 now with per special. And Sloshing Machine finally gets a buff for fans. 220 to 210, which it finally actually got a buff. Technically. Black Shot Pro 180 through 190. I guess I'm getting a little too much crab. And S-Blast is getting nerfed. Thank God. Because with the points, it gets booyah too much. And Mini Splatling 190 to 200. And let's see if there's anything else. Changes to under X ranks to show most frequency use weapon in X battles for that mode during a Katrine period of instead of the last weapon used due to the change of the weapon used to determine the top players for weapons will be changed in the same way. This update focuses on making changes to battles related systems and multiplayer balance. So basically, it it changes how we play the game, which I like that, Pro A fans. But let me know in the comments down below what you think about the changes, Pro A fans. Until next time, have a good day.